by 2, hurrah, hurrah. Now, I've got to get my computer sorted out, right? So, let's have a look at some funny things that are going on the internet, because I'm trying to wean myself off of social media ever so slightly. I'm also going back to an old camera, and I'm not going to be touching too much on crypto. It's going to be more focusing on freedoms, which, you know, funnily enough, if they get taken, so too might your crypto. Now, the next thing is this here. Now, you might have seen this. It's kind of funny. I'll play this back through for about the next 4 minutes.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister of Australia. And I'm a big dumb clown. And me, Peter Dutton, the Leader of the Opposition. I'm also a big dumb clown. I'm not a clown.
And look at this. Look, not only is this funny, but you can see my hand gestures. Cool. Now, if you have a look here, the actual Prime Minister of Australia responded on Twitter, and, you know, I thought, according to another senator who's been like trolled across the world, so too is our Prime Minister, because they're awful at their job, 100% when it comes to freedoms on the internet. We see he actually replied on X saying, "I insist you immediately halt the creation and distribution of these so-called cartoons that make fun of me. This behavior is unbecoming and disrespectful, and I will not tolerate it any longer." Okay, so we have a Prime Minister who's basically a big crybaby. Let's play on.
What is it, Anthony? It's this Pauline Hanson's cartoon series, making us look like clowns again. Well, that's preposterous. Why don't you just get them to take it off the air? Nah, that's impossible. It's on the internet. There's a way. Put some pants on and follow me. Where are we going?
Pants on.
We're going to Karen's.
They're both in bed
Karen's?
together.
Who's Karen? Back in 2015, the Turnbull government launched Project Karen's, which established the office of the E-Safety Commissioner. Oh, so we put a Karen in charge of keeping the internet safe. Well, that's what we told the people anyway. But it's really all about controlling the internet, which is why we call it the Keep Australia Regulated to Enforce a Nanny State, Project Karen's.
It's funny. Oh, this is 369. Oh, I won't do it.
Ew, I don't like that. Delete. And I don't like that. Delete. Oh, wow. So that's the E-Safety Commissioner. Yep. Real name, Julie Inman Grant. A disgruntled former Twitter employee with ties to the World Economic Forum. We pay her $450,000 a year. No! Delete! 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 Whoa, so she can delete anything from the internet? Pretty much. She started just deleting this dangerous, harmful stuff. But now we just let her delete whatever she wants.
Delete!
Doing great, Julie. Hey, I gotta forward you a post. I've gotta send it to 10 people, otherwise I'll die. Wow, she knows so much about the internet. Hey, Julie, have you seen this? It's the latest step of the incredibly popular Pauline Hanson cartoon series. Pauline Hanson? Must delete! Oh no, it's not working. Looks like satire's too powerful. Well, why don't we just give her a little more government power then?
Yeah, more government power. More funding. More taxpayer money. Your money. My money.
It's working, look! The video's disappearing. YouTube, gone. Facebook, gone. LinkedIn, gone. Well done, Albo. We've given Julie enough power to censor whatever she wants on the internet, and now we don't look like clowns. Oh, what's going on?
They look like clowns.
Why can't I delete?
Oh, you do. You guys do.
Hey, it's still up on X. Why can't she delete it from X? I hate X! I hate Elon! Put him in jail! He's out of control! Stand back. She works at Twitter, remember? She hates Elon Musk and his free speech agenda. Oh no, where did she go? Davos. How do you know that? I'm looking at the receipts right now. She just spent $40,000 on flights. Looks like she's going to use taxpayer money to set up a global online safety regulator that's going to take control of the entire internet. Well, I guess we should probably stop her, right? No, we just let her go. But there's no way people are going to find out about this and make us look like clowns, are they? No, I doubt it, Dutton. There's no way this sort of overreach will gain worldwide attention. Yeah, I guess you're right, Anthony. It's not like X or Elon Musk himself will personally try and stop us or anything. Exactly. It's not like people really value freedom of speech and expression. Definitely not. And they'll blindly trust that their government's got their best interests at heart, especially after COVID. And it's not like they'll ever vote against our two-party duopoly anyway. What are they going to do, support a party like One Nation who actually stand up for Australians' freedoms? Yeah, jeez. We'd really look like clowns then, Dutton. Yeah, absolute clowns.
Bunch of clowns. Alright. Not to enjoy that too much, but it's becoming more and more obvious that we might eventually get to somewhere where Australia and the rest of the Western nations, I think, or the whole world, to be honest, will be under some sort of censorship, right? Now, have a look here. This is the more extreme. If there was a scale of 1 to 10, China's on the 10 when it comes to freedoms that have been lost, taken away, and censorship, is a 10 rating. So in China, a poor social credit score affects where you can sleep, dine, or live. Did you know that? Did you know that? Most people know that by now, I hope, and if they don't, maybe it's worth looking into, because this is the slippery slope in which Australia is sliding down toward this sort of tyrannical dictatorship, although it will be brought about by these bills and legislations. Now, let's have a look at one of them. Now, I didn't even get to respond to this because I had thought I already did, but I didn't. If you look at this one here, it's called the 2023 Digital ID Bill and Rules Submissions. Now, it goes through and explains roughly what it is and, why it's good. You can voice your opinion, and you can also, what will the outcome of this consultation be? So similar to the token mapping and similar to other legislation that is out there, and there's so much going on. This is why it becomes very time consuming, because if you are trying to keep track of all of this and understand all of it, which I am having a hard time actually understanding the language that they are using and how it is applicable to the things I am looking at. So when I look at this, I'm sensing basically that there could be loss of freedoms. However, it could be presented as a simple system by which they're able to, identify you on a digital platform, which basically takes place already. There's like digital platforms, there's digital IDs, to do a tax return, to have a license, driver's license, other licenses. All of that data is already stored on a digital hub, I guess you could call it. And arguably that is already a digital ID. So I'm not sure as if they're trying to sort of not migrate, but collate all this data and make it one central point by which people will be able to pull information about you. So say you open a bank account and you provide all the data who you are, they could cross-check that against a digital ID. Now that sounds harmless, right? That sounds like it's going to be good because it can reduce fraud. It can make, investigate insurance companies who investigate things. Maybe it makes it easier for them. Like how when there's cameras everywhere, I guess, and they can you can see what took place and who was in the car and whose car it is registered to, etc., etc. But the flip side of that is, as I pointed it out before, is this whole high-tech digital surveillance issue. Now, the next thing, right? So that you are able to, if you wanted to, I think it's over now. See, it closed around the same time as this other bill, which I'll cover, which I actually made a response to. If you have a look here, it said, would you like to provide some feedback, right? And remember, you might have remembered me saying that if you don't provide feedback, right, where you discover these things, there's other people who will provide feedback. And maybe, just maybe, they're not on your team, right? They're not on your side. They're not your guys, right? So we have a look here, and I'm not saying Deloitte is evil, although there has been some accounting firms, I think it's PwC, that have had some pretty shady dealings, and it's like, hang on, they're like the biggest, one of the largest, most reputable, one of the biggest, most largest reputable accounting firms, right? Now, funnily enough, they have a response to this, Deloitte that is, not PwC, and you can go through and you can have a look at the outcome, right? There's submissions. There is submissions from Deloitte, and you have a look at this presentation, right? This is the template in which they provide, which I'll have a look here. I'll open it up. So if you were just a regular Joe Schmo and you log in, you go, how can I combat and take on, I don't know, the globalists who are trying to, censor us into oblivion, if that's what your thoughts are? Or how can I provide meaningful feedback to help these people understand your points of view and how could it affect you and your community, right? Well, if you have a look at this, this is the template that you're given. So you're to adhere maybe to this template, and maybe they, if you're a Joe Schmo, that maybe they look at it, maybe they don't throw it away in the bin as marking it as irrelevant. Let's have a look at the response from Deloitte, right? They hired people to create this insane looking report, which I'm personally kind of impressed on the way that it looks. It goes on to explain XYZ and their thoughts on it, okay? So I'm not going to go into their opinions because I actually haven't read it all because I haven't got time to. But have a look, they've presented like a nice little paper. It doesn't look like it's even 2,000 words, but, it's very nicely presented from a well-reputable source of information from literally a large accounting firm, from people who specialize in that field. Now, They did note some issues, but let's have a look at what the regular Joe Schmo provided in as a submission. I do not. This is kind of a problem if you ask me. I do not consent. I mean, that's good. Yeah, I do not consent to digital identity for myself or my children. Okay, cool. And then maybe they blacked out some profanity or names or some sort like that the date that it was submitted. But let's have a look at the effort put into this, right? Like this. Asked from this, sorry, this is the template, and this is what they got from regular Joe Schmo, like me. This could have been me. And they're going to be like, huh, so which one of these comments holds more weight, right? This one or this one? Okay, fair enough. We can read this and it's very, very concise. Is it relevant? This is the example, one of the actual examples that they placed up on here, right? There was another one. I could click randomly, but I'm guessing, see a lot of these large companies will have similar sort of responses, very professional, very clean, yeah, easy on the eye, very factual from professionals in the field versus Joe Schmoes. And I just can't help but feel as if no matter what they do, they're going to roll out whatever they want because of this, because they'll have the backing built from the government bodies. They'll have the backing from, I think some of these are actually potentially government bodies. Although this one would be interesting, Queensland Council for Civil Liberties, but Telstra is borderline New South Wales Council of Civil. Okay, interesting. Maybe that would be worth reading. Government Institute of Australia. Okay. Information and Privacy Commission. So that would almost be like, you're asking your buddy to write a review about you. In my opinion, I don't know. But then we have, so what I'm saying is if you don't write a submission, someone else will, and they may disagree with you 100%. And that is why they will win that battle, because you didn't bother. You didn't even try. You didn't even try and put your, I do not consent. It's like, I'm not sure that's the question here. The question is this, right? And you're saying, I just don't consent to what? To, is the application for accredited process appropriate, or should other matters be included in some excluded? It's almost like saying, this is how it's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. How should it happen? Is there anything we missed? It's not like, do you want it? Yes or no. It's almost like, okay, this is what we've decided. And the only way to get rid of us, I don't know, maybe vote them out and change this bill, destroy the bill, kill the bill. I don't know. But then as you saw in the cartoon, they're all in bed with each other. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to end up with some form of digital ID. Like I said, it's already here, basically, if you really go back and have a look. Now, this is the have your say, and yeah, accreditation rules, submissions, it's over now. So even the survey was over. I missed all of it because, like I said, I thought I'd done this because I was looking back through this particular, the new ACMA powers to combat misinformation and disinformation. See, this is what I thought I was writing a response to. Now, I'm actually having troubles finding this thing, and I had to go back, delve into some of the computers, and try to find this shit. And so this was what I was thinking about. It was combating legislation amendment, combating misinformation, disinformation bill, and this page is conveniently buried, I find. So if you have a look at this layout, this pretty layout here, versus where is it here, this one, digital ID, like that. So, have your say, digital ID, very encouraging for you to open, click around, provide some submissions. They even went as far as publishing the submissions. I know some of the taxation board requests for public comment, they still haven't rolled out the findings. And I didn't know about this until I was following this guy on LinkedIn, and he's like going, that's kind of not normal. Usually they let it all out in the open. Why are they hiding some of this stuff? Curious, is it not? Curious. Now, this here is what you are given. The Communications Legislation Amendment combating misinformation, disinformation bill. Now, I am sure there's more to this. I'm like, let's have a look. Publications. Maybe I click on that. Although I'm going to get lost because I haven't looked around. But it goes on through and see here's some publications. You can go through and decide what you want to look at. Help shape the future of, automated vehicles in Australia. Drinking water testing, I don't know, independent regional television. Okay, so there's all this stuff going on, and one little tiny thing that I've noticed is this here, which I'm pretty sure no one else even cares about. exposure drafts, and this is how it's worded, right? So I have to go through all of this, or someone has to go through all this and try to understand, is this positive or negative? And the assumption would be, it could be positive, but the assumption would be, in my opinion, maybe, just maybe, they're going to try and take away some freedoms, right? So I went through and had a look at all this, right? And I came up with this as a response. Now, as I said, this is all I can find at the current moment. At the time, I think there was a little bit more of a template and how you can submit your submission and things like that, but that's kind of gone now, or they've removed it from the page because maybe they were focusing on this digital ID bill. But anyway, here is what my actual response was, and I'll read this one and I'll close this out. And before I do that though, before I bore you to sleep, I will just mention this one here, sort of relevant to crypto. Oh my god, I've done like 4 times now here. And now this one here, if you're not in Australia, like, you maybe don't care about this stuff, but you're seeing the global blowback from the nonsense that these politicians are trying to come out with, that we need to censor the internet based on what we decide. Now, some of their argument, whilst somewhat logical, I just disagree with. The motive, the intention to censor the internet at government's will, because you end up with things like the social credit system in China, which they have no freedoms over there. Have a look. But yet I remember doing studies, and I was sitting there thinking, oh my god, I was sitting there thinking, basically, the comparison between full totalitarian and what we have here in Australia. And you read it out loud, and there appears to be, on paper, when you read it out, you're like, hang on. Under totalitarian, you basically just listen to what the government says and you do what they say, otherwise you get wrecked. And I'm like, but hang on. What? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to compare Australia to China, but yeah. What's happening, chat? Not much. I'm just trying to not dox myself too hard, but I think I did before. But also, what's it called? Yeah, just covering some of the. Yeah, I know you guys might have seen on. I'm trying to wean myself off a little bit of social media. Just having a look at some of the blowback, I guess, from the Australian politicians and the e-safety commissioner about the whole let's just censor the internet based on what we think is right sort of stuff. And now there's some funny cartoons and there's a whole lot of stuff happening. And some digital bills that I came across, I put some submissions to. I'm about to read one out, but it's kind of similar to this here on the Richard Hart tweet on X. They proposed to KYC internet connections. You must comment within 4 days. I tell you what no one else does because I care about you more than they do. Now, I honestly think when they say they're proposing some of this stuff, it's like they've already decided it. They just have to decide how fast they can roll it out. Because if they can stop some of this censorship from from the internet, like if we in Australia can stop some of the politicians by pushing back and saying, we're going, no, we don't like this, we're going to vote against it, we're going to protest, I don't know, we're going to vote you out, then maybe it delays their objectives by a day, months, years. But if you just get steamrolled, as we saw with some particular medical treatments and things like that, they sort of steamrolled that out on the masses. There was no pushback. Everyone just gave up, caved. They were coerced. They were forced. People you saw in Australia were being like arrested. Now, some of it was out of context. If you have a look at some reporting, it was technically incorrect because I was here. I'm like, some of that stuff wasn't happening. Some of the states it was happening. Some of it was, it was very hard to gauge unless you were actually here. But overall, it was a mass removal of people's freedoms, like across the board, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, etc., etc., etc. Now, I don't remember voting for those bills. They were like emergency. They were rolled out now, but some of that stuff's being rolled back now, as you see. But we can see how easily a country like Australia could fall into such a bad situation like that, as we saw with the countries around the world. Except for, I think it was Sweden, they had no restrictions at all. But yeah, I mean, that's too hard to talk about because that was too logical. And that's the frustration, where's people's minds at. But we see here, KYC internet connections. So to me, what that's saying is, okay, you have KYC internet connections. It's basically saying, if you want to use the internet, we have to know who you are. So I know if it's a internet email address or like I said, digital ID that Australia is talking about rolling out. So anything you do literally be tracked and traced to you. And then it begs the question, all right, if you do not use that particular ID to log onto the internet, is that now a crime? So if you were to log on to, yeah, and you're not going to give up your ID access, because we've seen videos before that if you don't use your ID to log in China to buy stuff, like they're not going to give you your, like I wouldn't give you my access, because then I would be penalized if you do something wrong with it. So people are like, no, that's my access, don't touch it. And then, what's it called? It's like, what will then become illegal? Like, so surfing the internet without KYC, is that now illegal? So then they could clamp down and say, well, anonymous browsing on the internet is legal, so maybe we have to ban VPNs. Maybe we have to start going after some software. You know, how many layers of the onion is there? They're gonna start deep drilling into. It's like, okay, peel back the onion, lol. I know, right? Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't think anyone's listening or cares too much. I don't think it's going to be until things get real bad that people sort of go, nah, hang on, this isn't right. But so far, man, like, yeah, it's just a complete loss of freedoms, just constantly brought about by government generally, and brought about for your safety and my safety. It's like, I never asked to be safe, right? Well, I'm an adult, I can look after myself. That's why it was funny they mentioned the nanny nation, nanny state. Now, in closing, what I'll do is bring up this here. So this is what I submitted to the This is going to be very boring, so you might just tune out, I don't know. But here, I'm writing, so there was an exposure draft, and so it allowed you to write your personal opinions on things. Now, they did have a template. However, some of it was very, very hard to understand from like a Joe Schmo like myself. Maybe if you've got a team of lawyers and accountants in place and cybersecurity experts talking about digital ID bill, maybe it's easier for them to understand what it is the government is talking about, because it's kind of like when all of the crypto people start talking about crypto shit. Like some stuff I don't understand if it's like full-on coding dev talk, but if it's just how to swap tokens and how to use different front ends, it's like basically it's like it's second nature to us, but someone else, they're like, hang on, what's a wallet? What's a DEX? What's a SEX? They have a hard time understanding things. So the government comes out with this jargon, technical jargon that you're supposed to understand, and then they ask you, what do you think about this technical jargon that you most likely to understand? And then you have to provide comment on it. Now, my version is I try and simplify it and put it in plain English so they can understand my point of view, and hopefully they can then, take it into consideration when they start making this nonsense. Because like I said, if no one does it, you have these big ass businesses who are writing back, and maybe there's some bodies on your side, like there was a civil liberties response to it, so that may be good because maybe they're promoting civil liberties, and maybe there's groups like that which you can align with. But if there's not, it's literally you, me, Joe Schmo, doesn't know anything, up against big, huge firms who have teams and teams and teams behind them, which is not good for if they're all pushing to take away all of our freedoms. It's like, hang on, but I'm the one being affected here. I don't want my freedoms taken. And the government's like, this is why. And then they have the specialty bodies. This is why we agree with the government. Oh, we should change it, make it more better like this. And then the next thing, they've voted it through, and you find out both parties, a two-party preferred system, all agree on it. And then Joe Schmo, like myself, sitting there hanging, going, well, hang on, wait. I didn't vote for none of this. What the fuck just happened? And then next thing, we're living in communist China, and they banned cash and crypto. It's like, that's, yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's not a loss. It's literally a forfeit of freedoms. It's like, can I have it's my freedoms being taken. Can I talk about this? No, fuck you. It's like, okay. So this is why I wrote this back in response, trying to push back on some of this. So hopefully they read it. Hopefully it makes sense to them. So I'll read this here. I am writing to provide feedback on the exposure draft, the communication legislation amendment, combating misinformation, disinformation, Bill 2023. So this is last year, shit, okay. And whilst I was covering this, I got, they stealthily relaunched the digital ID response, which I didn't even pick up because I was focused on this. Plus I have, other shit like my Uber challenge to work on to get to, to have food. Because I don't have enough money for food, I kind of need that. So I haven't really got much to be like, sacrificing into other shit. So, that's another whole kind of, I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, now, it's not because, trust me, it is not because I do not support DeFi, because I'm not pushing back for all this shit for the fun of it, I tell you. It's not fun. It might be easier just to go along with it and go, yeah, I think we should just censor everything and just kill crypto off and just kill cash and just put everyone in prison. Little ghetto, they can't leave the 5K cities, Eat the bugs, own nothing, be happy. Maybe you join that team and you get more props, I don't know. But anyway, now I have some concerns regarding the potential misinformation, disinformation powers that may be granted to the Australian Communications and Media Authority, ACMA. So this is a new body they're rolling out. Although they mentioned before that the e-commissioner was like put in place previously, just in case they needed it and then to roll it out in the masses. Then they rolled it out in the masses and now the whole world's laughing. Anyway, again, I didn't vote for it, but this is what the government decides to do. And then the Prime Minister responds going, please don't make these funny cartoons, please don't meme me. Anyway, or any government body globally. It is important to address these concerns to avoid the risk of granting excessive control and censorship over the internet, leading to a potential totalitarian regime. Now, they might laugh at that, but I don't understand. That's what they did during the pandemic. I'm not kidding. They were borderline under emergency powers, and rightfully so, they claim. And people lost their job, rightfully so. They all claim legally and lawfully. I don't know. But they all basically said, everyone, home detention for you. Like I thought it was free, but there was people on the border. You couldn't even leave the border. You couldn't even leave. It got really bad. It was almost, and in some places it was as bad as the stuff you saw on TV or online. It literally was. And I'm worried and scared for not myself, but for everyone. That never happens again. Just randomly. It's like we've decided these evil, like, people that collect Beanie Babies, oh my god, they're terrorists or something. You're like, hang on, whoa, hang on, what? We have intel supporting there might be, I'm like, okay. I would like to highlight the potential issue of questioning the Combating Misinformation Disinformation Bill 2023 itself. As such, skepticism could be deemed as misinformation or disinformation under the powers granted. Can you stop it, app? It's like already, borderline doxing. Now, this raises concerns about the freedom of expression. Take, for example, topics like multiple genders and differences between religions. If openly expressing disagreement in a public forum could be considered as producing misinformation, it raises questions about selective censorship based on the platform. Considering the internet's role as a diverse platform for ideas, X, for example, YouTube, anyway, I believe that censorship is not an effective method to construct stronger arguments or foster logical discussions based on facts. It is crucial to recognize the comprehensive nature of ideas and their potential influence on informed adults. Encouraging self-censorship or enforcing censorship through fiscal repercussions and powers granted to bodies like the ACMA can manipulate people's thoughts. Practices typically associated with countries like communist-run China, North Korea, or Russia, rather than Australia. Instead of outright banning ideas people disagree with, they should be openly debated, disproven, or discredited in the public square. Now, I'm pretty sure that's straightforward, but maybe there's something that, like I said, maybe people aren't so smart. I'm not sure. Furthermore, I would like to address the example presented in the guidance paper concerning damaging critical infrastructure. They literally cited as part of it that people thought that 5G was damaging them and someone somewhere damaged it. And so they're saying this is the internet's fault. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? So you're saying because some loon bird somewhere thought that is why I have to lose my freedom of speech my political freedom of speech. We don't actually have free speech in Australia. We have political free speech. Now, It is difficult to imagine a person of sound mind making a decision to damage property based solely on advice received from an internet source. Personally, I would prefer engaging the feedback-driven discussion rather than resorting to destructive actions. Similarly, when considering instances of misinformation that led people to ingest or inject bleach products as a treatment for viral infections, which is actually cited in the reason why they needed this, it is evident that a person of sound mind would not engage in such actions. If someone told you, right, just pause it. If someone said, okay, this is the cure for the common cold. You drink bleach. And you go, hang on, I'm not drinking bleach. I'm not drinking bleach. I don't care if it's I'm not drinking bleach. That you think that would make sense, right? You think I think freedom is an IQ test. We're all failing. Because, anyway, the need for explicit instructions to avoid such behavior raises questions about the level of trust the government places in individuals and the intelligence it attributes to the general population. So the government is telling me I need to be censored so I don't accidentally come across content that tells me to burn towers down because the towers are magically hurting me, or to not ingest bleach because I think it's a cure for something. And this body thinks that they know better, that they think I'm so dumb that I need to be, that needs to be kept away from me. Right? That's what they're implying. I'm sorry. That is 100% what they're implying. And for them to even speak those words out loud or to type them anywhere is just an insult to my intelligence. 100%. Anyone. It's an insult to anyone. And if people are that dumb, they should be able to discuss this, and then people will tell them, go, look, did you know it's not healthy to do that? Or did you know it's breaking the law if you destroy shit? And then if they still persist, I don't think censorship is going to help those people. I'm sorry. Now, where was I? I have not come across examples demonstrating the integrity of the Australian democratic process or institutions of Commonwealth, state, territory, or local governments being undermined by misinformation and disinformation. That was also cited, so I'm addressing that. Restricting open discussions about politics may not bode well with those who value freedom in our country, myself included, and most likely anyone who thinks that it's okay to post a funny meme on a website, because it's a joke, it's satire. People should understand that. But no, we need to have this crushed because it might interfere with the elections of the Commonwealth, state, territory, or local governments. Like, seriously, bro? This is the nanny state we're living under. It's like, no, we're sick of these feeders, these useless feeders that don't contribute to society in a meaningful way. We're just gonna lock them in the house, fuck them, make them eat the bugs. Meanwhile, we fly around in our private jets and do what we want. It's like, hang on. I thought the people voted you in to get our voices heard in the meaningful place of the parliament, to have things to make real change, like for the better, not for the worse. It's almost like we've been co-opted, and somehow we just have this nanny nation mentality where everything might be dangerous. So we're going to ban it or censor it all. It's like, no, we can't play with that because we might discover like some new sort of energy, or we can't play with that because we don't want to discover some new medicines or anything. No, we can't play with that. It's like, hang on. So you're saying let's just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and expect a new outcome? Let's just continue on with definition of insanity. Yeah, that's real good. Anyway, next line. While targeting disinformation by foreign actors who promote imported goods over local producers is understandable, a person who is informed and of sound mind should be able to differentiate between misleading information and make informed decisions. Again, addressing what I was saying, although such differentiation may be more challenging than identifying cause to ingest poison or cause property damage, although it is not an impossible task. So I think they have a wide spectrum, and they're going from the full-on extremes to maybe saying people who promote imported goods over local, like they're sort of saying, no, don't buy Australian stuff is bad, it's shit. It's like, no, clearly our shit's better. Clearly our fucking minerals are better. Clearly the food we grow is better. We're like a fucking food bowl of the world. Clearly, like, this is not undisputed. But if someone comes and goes, no, shit, it's like, hang on, what? Maybe this is like some low level interference by foreign actors taking place. I don't know. Maybe it could be like people that come into the hexagosphere and start telling you that hex is crap or pulse chain is crap or pulse X is crap. Maybe they're like, maybe they've been sent from somewhere else. I don't know. Now that's another story. That's same old. Now, in conclusion, fill up the country with other countries. Oh, I don't know, man. Oh, anyway, I don't know what this world is coming with, and this is all prior to the whole. Anyway, in conclusion, like, let's not cover the military-industrial complex and what's the other one? The ones that control the media and the ones that control the pharmacies. There's another word for it. I can't think of it. The technocracy. In conclusion, the potential grant of misinformation and disinformation powers to the Australian Communications and Media Authority raises concerns about a slippery slope toward totalitarian control and censorship of the internet. Whether intended or unintended, I firmly believe that it is not the role of government to dictate how the internet is used to express opinions, as long as those expressions do not incite violence. Relevant government agencies should monitor any calls to violence. If we slowly erode the ability to express opinions openly, peaceful political expression will be increasingly restricted, and the purpose of using the internet as a platform for open discourse will be lost. It's logical, right? If you tell people you can't say shit, how are they going to talk about the world's events? Especially if the world's events are being censored. Now, simply put, in my feedback, I express. Now, I hope they publish this shit, but I'm pretty sure they won't. I express concerns about the potential grant of powers to regulate misinformation and disinformation on the internet, emphasizing the importance of open discourse, the risks of censorship, and the need to preserve freedom of expression while addressing harmful content. Thank you for considering my feedback on this important matter. Yours sincerely, Free Speech. I didn't put that, but I put my real name. I don't know. I might have to just change my other account that I lost years ago back to my real name, because I feel like it just makes more sense instead of hiding behind some fucking avatar, some anon. Now, anonymity, anon. I think they said, was it someone anon? Yeah. Anyway, fill up the country with other countries' dumb exports. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but the thing is, the way things are going, they're going to start making better shit overseas eventually, and then those ones are going to be better, and then we're going to be, depending on what side you're on, you're going to be stuck paying more because they don't like you. It's like, it's not good. Yeah, I don't know. That is about it. Hopefully, that entertained you. Hopefully, that enlightened you. That made me feel a little bit better. Now I've got to go do some other shit. But yeah, and. Do we look at crypto at this point in time? We'll have a brief look at GoPulse. GoPulse? Is GoPulse? Yeah, GoPulse. So look, we'll see how we're tracking. Alright, it's down a bit. In a few days, I'll make an update video. I'll be like, week 6, my Uber challenge. Shit is down 19.4%, 14%, 13%, 15.5%. I'm going to buy some more. I want to get a lot more for my money, so it's kind of good. It's bad though if you're hanging on every fucking movement and you're like you're a derivatives trader and you're like, oh my god, my 100x leverage, which I don't think is actually happening, but maybe there's some traders in the old community that's infiltrated us and they sort of start infighting, and then for some reason, fuck knows what we've ended up as a community. And now we're seeing all sorts of shit take place, which I never in my wildest dream would imagine would have taken place, which is okay, I guess. It's okay. But yeah, I can't help but think in closing that this is going to take place at some stage. Someone's mentioned something about would there ever be a live stream again now? Didn't I save it? I swear to God I would have saved it. Replies here. I really miss Richard's live stream. Some of the best content of all YouTube. I agree. The Hexagon was our strongest streamer. He's gone. He's not gone, but he's just not streaming. And I can't help but think it's the equivalent of this. Don't make me come down there from God, you know. Alright, free speech. Yeah. Peace, people. Peace and love.